Hello and welcome to the first episode of the MR Spotlight series for War of the Vision, where we will be taking MR units into high-level arena and seeing how they fight their UR counterparts. And in this series, we will be featuring one MR unit at a time. If you would like me to feature all MR crews eventually, please let me know and I'll plan around that. But for now, I'm slowly building MR units, and when they're ready, I'm throwing them in this series. So this is what we'll be doing. We'll be doing a short review of the unit, approximately 5 minutes, then showing you the loadout we take in combat, and doing battle. Our first unit in this series is going to be Nasha, the Holy Knight, and she's a, I would say, great MR tank. She is in direct competition with Munt, which every player has, basically. So what do you get? First off, her TMR is not a great weapon. There are better TMR options, especially Dario's weapon, which gives AP up, but you get a really cool skin, so there's that. Now, what Nasha is good at is tanking. She has a lot of HP in her master ability, HP in her nodes, and then she's got good resistances against all types of physical damage, so there are no weaknesses here. Only positives. Then if you look at her passives, well, she gets increased defense and HP from the Holy Knight's protection, which you're going to want to equip every time you use her. And then it's basically a choice between jump +1. In some maps it's going to be necessary, in some maps it's not going to be useful, or another 15% HP from the HP up 1. In terms of counter, I would say her best is definitely Paladin's Guard. You get a very decent chance to reduce physical damage by almost 50%, so that's a lot. I personally love Dragon's Blade for the fact that it heals back and deals some damage. It's pretty cool, but its main drawback is it has a very short range. So on a lot of scenarios, you're not even going to be able to counter. Whereas Paladin Guard, as long as it's a physical attack, doesn't matter where it comes from, you always have a chance to proc it. So there we go. Now, in terms of job, Nasha's main job is Paladin, which provides her with a couple cool things. Blade Bash has a lot of damage and a chance to stun, and then she has Courage and Saintly Wall for more physical tanking. If you plan on using her as a tank, you need the Paladin sub-job because it's her only way to gain hate using Taunting Blade. It also provides her with Sentinel, which is a great defense buff, basically making her invincible for one turn. Her other jobs are very lackluster. She does not have enough magic to really make White Mage work, in my opinion. And then she doesn't have a lot of damage, so the really cool attacks from Dragoon don't provide much value, especially considering you're giving up your hate generation capabilities in order to gain these things. So it's difficult to use. Now, we do know about her EX job that's going to be coming in the future, and what it changes is it increases the chance to parry from her counter Paladin Guard, so that's good. And then in her main job, her Saintly Wall becomes able to block damage from any source, not just physical damage. And she gains a new ability that gives single target resistance and then protects against a couple status ailments. So it's a cool trick, another way for her to be tanky, but that's really going to be banking on making her even tankier. So that's her identity. She doesn't do much damage. She just stays there in the way of the enemy for a very long time. So knowing that, let's take her into arena and see how it goes. Alright, so let's quickly take a look at our setup here. Nasha is running over 5,000 HP, 53 points of defense, low spirit, but also low faith, which means she's not that susceptible to magical attacks. Now, let's quickly look at her stats. If you want to do something like this in the future, we have very good slash resistance and then decent elemental resistances as well from Alexandrite Ring, which provides a little bit of extra tankiness. So that's really the main thing here, being tanky. Now, she has all her offensive abilities except from Taunting Blade turned off because we really want her to get hate. That's what she needs to do. Immortal Spirit and Saintly Wall are on, and so is Sentinel in terms of buffs. So that's what we have on and off. I am running her own weapon because I wanted to bring a weapon still, but honestly, if I had Dario's sword, it's what I would use because the acquired AP up 30% means that Nasha on turn 1 uses Immortal Spirit, and then on turn 2 she can already use Taunting Blade. Now, in our setup, she needs 2 buffs or a buff and an attack in order to be able to do that. So that's it. Quickly, our other units, we have Victora here. Her job is to get in the back and kill enemies. So that's really what we want her to do. And then Halloween Little Leela is here as an insurance policy, because if Victora goes down, she will be able to get her back up and keep doing damage. So this is what the team looks like. Let's take them to battle. Alright, so first battle here, we're fighting Thancred, Frederica, and Vinera. And our hope here is really that Victora won't go too forward and get herself killed before Nasha does the job in tank. If that happens, we'll be in trouble and we'll probably lose the battle. But if Nasha can manage to keep the enemy aggro on herself, then we're very much safe. And that's one nice thing of using Vow of Love against long-range units like Frederica, is that they're going to be targeting your tanks from the back because they have such a long range, and they're going to be ignoring your damage dealers that are moving forward. So usually it's very, using Vow of Love makes your tank much more reliable in those scenarios. So now we see her taking the first hit, and then Thancred starts being damaged a little bit, and Nasha just keeps on tanking. So now we're at 3 hits taken, so our hate is running rather low, and this attack here is all the remaining hate we had. So from now on, the enemies are going to be attacking other party members until we can throw our Taunting Blade out, which is exactly what's happening here. However, we're already in a very good position, and we should be able to finish the fight very shortly. There we go. So, a good win. Alright, so second battle here, we are fighting Dwayne, Kane, and Sakura. And that's really a team that I'm seeing a lot in high PvP. It provides 2 very strong damage dealers, and then the new Mage of the Hour that's very powerful as well. So we have to be wary of their damage. Now, Nasha takes a surprisingly low amount of damage from magic attacks right now because of her low faith, so I'm not expecting her to go down that quickly, but what I'm afraid of is Victora moving too far forward. Especially when the enemy Dwayne moves sideways like that. Since he has hate, Nasha is going to try to match his pace, which means that she's going to be moving sideways a little bit. And if she does too much of a sideway movement, she won't go in front, so she won't be tanking. Now, fortunately, Victora has really awesome attack patterns and can get behind the wall and hit our enemy. So this should give us a bit of tempo. Now, as I mentioned, Nasha moved a bit to the side, so the enemy Dwayne gets to hit someone else. But we do have a Charmed Sakura on our side, which really changes the fight around quite a bit. And that should be enough for us to turn the tide of the battle. From here, also, Nasha is now in range to take the aggro, so Kane will be hitting her rather than anyone else for the rest of this fight. So that's very good because he's in a position to one-shot anyone else. So now we take Dragon's Bane, which is not doing that much damage, as you can see. So we're looking pretty good in terms of tankiness. Now Kane is down to his last little bit of HP and goes down. There we go. So Nasha definitely did her job. Alright, so this time we're fighting a slash attacker that we're not that scared of. But Sid has Vow of Love, which is interesting. It means that our team will be really moving to the right side of the map, and then Glaciela could come in from the back and attack us. And Kane and Glaciela have weird attack patterns where sometimes they can damage your tank and still hit the rest of your team because they just hit in a weird cross shape. So if that happens, we're going to lose the fight. But if for some reason we manage to get them out early, that should be good. So they begin moving forward, and now this time Nasha will follow the Vow of Love from Orlando, so she'll be moving directly in a straight line forward, which means she'll be in range to tank a bit earlier than the other battle, which is really what we want to see. So she's in a good position, she is forward, and the enemy Glacial actually goes down before attacking. So this match definitely looks good for us. Now, unfortunately, the enemy Kane was very backwards, so we get to lose Victoria right away. So it's up to only 2 of our guys to win the rest of the battle, but Nasha's in range to tank, and she is full HP. So it's going to take the enemy a while before they can start attacking our Halloween little Leela. Now, full life comes in, which normally I would say is very strong, but we're fighting Kane, and she's right next to Nasha, so yeah, this was bound to happen. Now, as long as Nasha stays far from Halloween little Leela, we're fine. But unfortunately, she just unlocked Taunting Spell and moved back, so yeah, I'm a little bit scared now. Halloween little Leela gets to proc Courage, and then Kane is probably going to get her down. And Nasha doesn't have much damage, but she can at least deal 1 HP damage, so at least we get to win the fight. Okay, final battle. We're fighting another team that's rather popular right now in Arena, and that's full gunner team, or often the variation 2 gunners and a mage, or 2 gunners and another type of damage dealer that's going to move forward. So in this match, it's all a matter of how many hits can Nasha take, and can she take the initial onslaught of the range attackers for long enough for Victoria to move in and do damage. Gunners are very squishy, so Victoria's probably going to kill them in 1 hit, maybe 2. So as long as she can move forward safely, we're going to win the battle. So once again, Victoria moves forward, the enemy use their buffs, so they're ready to hit. We lose a bit of HP here, but fortunately we're ice elements, so that helps against Lucia. And normally Lucia is really scary for tanks because she ignores such a huge portion of defense. But in our case, we're ice elements, so we sort of have this going for us where she won't deal that much damage even if she comes and hit us. So far we've tanked a couple hits, and we're in a pretty good position because we're now attacking the enemy. So yeah, looking very good. They won't have enough time to take our tank out and then take anyone else. And this limit break here from Victoria should probably end the fight. So let's see. There we go. So another good victory. Nasha definitely did her job here. All right, so you've seen Nasha in fights, and I would say I'm very surprised by the amount of success we've had. She's been doing her job very well, very rarely going down, and then tanking a lot of hits, even if she does go down. So it's been a lot of pleasure working with her. Now, should you build Nasha? It's a pretty good question. A lot of players have access to Agrias, and then if you're running on a budget, most players have access to Mont, so there is a lot of competition before wanting to build her. She is a great physical tank, and she really takes a lot of punishment before going down. But is she necessary for your crew? I don't really think so. There are other kinds of tanks that generate hate more easily than her. So she's a lot of fun. If you've got those spheres to level MR units that you want to use, she's a good candidate. But is she game changer? Not necessarily. So that's it. So what other units would you like me to feature next? I'm currently working on Ravius, who's going to be ready in a couple weeks. But any other you'd like to see, really, let me know, and I'll put them in my plan. So thank you very much for watching, and if you had a good time, please like and subscribe. It will make it that much more likely for those videos to be recommended to you in the future. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.